Hello and welcome to this Profit Protector Pro video. So today I'm going to tell you the two main things to avoid when it comes to repricing. Now the first one is the most important thing to avoid when it comes to repricing. Now basically it's all about your maximum price. Now you might think, hold on a minute, really? Because can't I just set my maximum price to be however much, and Profit Protector Pro will just continue to bump it up, making me as big a profit as it possibly can? Well, it's important to set sensible parameters. So whilst the parameters that you set need to align with your goals as a seller, there also needs to be an aspect of logic, common sense, and just being sensible about doing so. Now, the reason why I say this is because there is going to be a major consequence if you were to set your maximum price way too high. That is definitely something you want to avoid, setting the maximum price way too high. Why can't we just set the maximum price to be infinity and then just have the repricer move it up and move it up and move it up and move it up to make us hundreds of thousands worth of pounds or dollars or euros in profit? Why can't we do that? Well, that is actually down to just selling on Amazon. That is just part of selling on Amazon. It's part of Amazon's fair pricing on a listing, and it wouldn't be fair on other sellers if that was a possibility. The whole model would just not work. So I'm going to tell you what happens if a max price is set too high. But first of all, I'm going to give you some advice about how you set your maximum price. Now obviously you want it to be where the buy box is within range of your parameters. So if you set your maximum price below the buy box, Profit Protector Pro is not going to be able to compete too well at all, because the buy box is not within range, it's not able to win it, it's outside of your set parameters. So don't set your maximum price below the buy box, but taking into account the buy box is one of the most important things to do when setting your maximum price. After that, it's then your competitor prices that you need to consider. Now, if you set your maximum price to be, say, the buy box price plus 100%, then it's basically going to be double the buy box price. That would end up being your maximum price result. If you're looking at it in terms of what you're going to achieve ROI wise, a good starting point would be about 30%, achieving about 30% ROI. Obviously, increasing that is completely up to you, and this is where using the auto min max functions in Profit Protector Pro will help you understand more about the kind of results that will be produced if you were to base the sum on ROI plus 30%, 40%, and if you were to base your maximum price on break even, then it's basically just how high above the break even you'd want your max price to be, but again taking into account all of those factors that I just told you about. So take into account the buy box price first, so that way you know that you're in range, and have your max price above the buy box, so that way Profit Protector Pro can make you even more of a profit on the item. Now, the reason why I say take your competitors' prices into account is because this is going to help you understand the sort of limits on that particular listing. Now, of course, you can use everything that I said before as a rule of thumb if you wish. Of course, I cannot tell you what the perfect maximum price is going to be, what the perfect rule is, what it is that you need to set. That is down to you, because it's got to align with your goals as well. So using this advice, hopefully it helps you find a suitable max price for your items even better, even quicker. But taking into account the competitor pricing on the listing is important, because it helps you understand the range of pricing on that listing. Now let's say, so the range on this item goes from 44.69 all the way up to looks like 97.22 is the highest one. Now where you get a range like this is going to help you big time with understanding the kind of range that you can set. You can see a couple of sellers that are in the 60s, one at 80, one at 97. Now what you're looking for is a couple of the higher prices that are in the same kind of range. So you're looking for, in this case, a few items that are, say, in the late 70s and 80s, to give you an idea, to basically tell you what kind of max price you want to look to set. Now 97.22 may be an acceptable max price, but at the same time you don't want to risk what can potentially happen from setting a max price too high. Now, Amazon aren't going to grill you in an instant for setting a max price that is a little too high. They're going to probably warn you first, but if it continues, then bigger consequences will occur. So what I'm talking about is, if you set a maximum price that's too high, Amazon will give you a warning and they'll tell you that it's not fair pricing, basically, that it needs readjusting. Obviously, please only readjust everything within Profit Protector Pro, so that way Profit Protector Pro can continue to reprice as normal. But if your max price continues to stay too high, this is what happens. You get a suppressed buy box, and the suppressed buy box is basically where the buy box is removed from the listing. So imagine this sales page, this listing page, but without all of this. Okay, this is the buy box. No price here, no add to basket, no buy now, none of that. All of this will be gone. So when the customer comes to this listing, this page, they will not see this, which makes it even harder to make sales on a particular item and kind of shuts down the listing in a sense. The only way that you'll be able to make sales from this point onwards, whilst the buy box is suppressed, is if the customer was to come here and then choose you individually as the seller to buy from, which reduces your chances of making a sale, because then it's just a case of, well, who is it that they're going to choose? And of course, price is factored into that as well. And if you're way up there with your maximum price and you happen to be there at, as well with your current price, then they're going to choose someone at a cheaper price. So it's really not good at all to have a suppressed buy box on a listing. Now, if it so happens that the listing has a suppressed buy box and it is not your fault, then basically all that's going to happen is that you just need to wait. You just need to wait for the buy box to be reinstated. Of course, if your min-max parameters are fine, then you don't need to do anything. But if your maximum price needs changing, then please go ahead and do so. And it's really easy to find any that have a suppressed buy box by using the filter right here, so you can very easily find those items. You might also want to turn this off and then just select the items that are at max, and then just sort of review them to ensure that everything is okay. But this is the main one to use if there is a suppressed buy box. Now, of course, that's not what we want. We want to make sales. So this is part of why it's ideal and vital to set a sensible maximum price. So if you see a couple of other sellers in that kind of higher price range, that's where you're probably safe to set your price at that kind of price. But if you saw the higher price range at around 80 something, and then you see this one seller that's all the way up at like 150, obviously that is bang out of proportion with everyone else. So chances are they're going to get some warning. So it's best not to join them in that boat and just set a sensible max price. The other thing that is important to avoid as well is setting your minimum price above the buy box. Now, as I say, Profit Protector Pro needs the buy box to be within your parameters to compete effectively. If you're not seeing good results in Profit Protector Pro and lots of your price ranges have the buy box, just outside, it's not going to work very well. Profit Protector Pro works best when the buy box is within range and then it's able to compete, therefore resulting in sales, therefore resulting in profits. So as well as setting a sensible max price, which is arguably the most important one out of the two, set a competitive minimum price. So whether that is just below the buy box, whether it is a couple of pounds or dollars below the buy box, it is completely up to you. Maybe it's a penny under the buy box. Or maybe it is matching the buy box. Either way, you need it within your range in order to compete effectively. So I would say that these are the most important things to look out for when you go ahead and set up your items for repricing. As I say, make use of the filters so that way you can understand which of your products have the buy box below minimum and which ones might be on a listing whereby there's a suppressed buy box. It might not be caused by you, but just in case, it's important to review these anyway in a regular routine. Whether that's something you do fortnightly, once a month, it is completely up to you when you have these routines in place. But with good minimum and maximum parameters set, then you will have nothing to worry about at all, and the suppressed buy box will be nothing but an idea. It's not going to happen with sensible minimum and maximum prices. Hopefully this video was useful. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.